William Hester, in his fine embroidered coat, was Kensington Palace's first royal rat catcher. He had been catching rats at the palace for years. Ever since it had been speedily rebuilt, the draughty, windswept rooms and damp floors had attracted them. He had caught a great many in his time, but rats being rats, his work was never completed.
Early one evening, on a cold and windy Thursday, in the winter of 1694, a huge, smelly, fat, hungry and greedy dark-brown king-size rat with twitching whiskers and a single white patch across one eye had happily run across the old oak dining table during dinner, to everyone's disgust, before disappearing in the direction of the beautifully painted King's Staircase. "Imagine if he came back during the banquet for the Prince of Baden the day after tomorrow," Queen Mary had said, shocked and annoyed. "I don't think the Prince of Baden would be too pleased. He's not at all keen on rats' hairless tails. No, he's in fact very, very squeamish about them, and should this one touch his smooth hands, he may never visit us again," agreed an embarrassed King William. "We'd better get that trusted rat-catcher in."
Hester cleaned his fingernails, brushed his short, black, greasy hair, washed his dirty, rat-smelling hands and went to the palace. He had with him his brave and fearless companion, a floppy-eared, agile, rapid white terrier called Boy, who was great at sniffing rats out and could squeeze into all sorts of weeny holes they hid in to pull them out. The search for King Rat began in the kitchens. In the dark corners by the sacks of wheat they caught 3. They then hunted around the warmth of the smoky fires and got another 4. Hester's good friend, the jolly-faced, wobbly-bellied, flowery-aproned, sweaty head chef Cookie, thanked them both kindly with a meaty, piping hot sausage roll. Delicious. Now the hunt really got going around the palace, behind fishy dustbins, between creaking floorboards, under feather-soft beds, in the toilets, even in a hole in the wall by the fireplace. By midnight, when they did a last search around the King's Staircase, Hester and Boy had caught 99 rats of all shapes and sizes. Huge ones and tiny ones, orange ones and brown ones, skinny ones and stinky ones, young ones and old ones, cunning ones and slow ones, and even a couple of long-sighted ones. In the morning, King William and Queen Mary were pleased. 99 rats! That would surely have included last night's brave and reckless king rat. Surely. Unfortunately for Hester and Boy, they hadn't fully solved the problem. During that night's succulent chicken dinner, just 24 hours before the banquet, here he was again, darting across the table without a care in the world. Mary could have sworn brave King Rat gave her a wink and a cheeky smile as he skipped and scuttled past, whistling a merry tune. The King and Queen were frustrated, embarrassed, worried, cross, upset, annoyed, outraged even. Our hero would be in serious trouble if he didn't sort this out. So he returned to the palace and set to work with Boy for another long shift. 41 rats were caught that night, each and every room checked and secured. In the morning, the King and Queen demanded to see the catch to ensure their whiskery tormentor, cheesy King Rat, was among them. He was not, and they threatened Hester should oily King Rat spoil that evening's banquet. "I'm so cross I could throw pies in your face," the King shouted angrily. "And I'm so cross I could make you live in a whale's mouth for eternity," the Queen added shrilly. Hester could tell they were upset from the warm tears running down their flushed cheeks, so he swore solemnly. Yes, plump King Rat may be smart, but I will do whatever it takes. You have my word that he will not spoil your evening." Boy wagged his tail in agreement and gave a gentle growl, his eyes lowered respectfully to the ground. All day long they kept up their search, but no rat was to be found. The clocks ticked, time passed, they got tireder and tireder. Our friends needed to come up with a good plan, ideally one with a good trick that would mean Hester would be able to keep his word, his job, and even possibly, by the looks on the King's and Queen's faces, his life. He headed for the kitchens to see if his good friend Cookie could help. That evening, the giant dining table under the pretty chandelier was prepared for the feast. The King and Queen welcomed their guests, including lords, ladies, dukes, duchesses, and many over-perfumed posh people. They wonder what Cookie, the best head chef in the whole country, has prepared for their feast. Cookie, helped by 6 of his chefs, carries in the largest steaming, crumbly-crusted pie anyone has ever seen and places it at the head of the table. The appreciative murmurs of delight are cut short as the now rather cocksure King Rat springs onto the other end of the table and begins his slaloming run down. William and Mary are too embarrassed to speak. They sit, red-faced, staring icily at their arch-enemy, cunning King Rat, as he approaches them at great speed. This is a disaster, thinks the Queen. An absolute disaster. Drat! Come on, hurry up, Hester, old chap. Kill that rat, thinks the King. Slippery King Rat is now so confident he dashes really rather quickly, bouncing off a fork here, somersaulting off a spoon there, pecking a duchess on the cheek, tickling another with his whiskers under the chin. Delightful and terrifying in equal measures. Other than the pitter-patter of his tiny feet, all you can hear is the sharp intake of guests' breath as they look on, unsure if they are disgusted or delighted by his tricks and bravery. He's amazing, thinks one duchess, dressed in her finest purple gown. I wonder how they trained him. What kind of place do you call this? Thinks her husband, in his one traditional black-tie entertaining outfit. It's supposed to be a palace, not a dump of rats. As the rat approaches the top end of the table, Cookie gives the cooks a discreet nod, and they deftly split the pie crust open. Amid the steam, a small black nose peeks out, and then just as King Rat leaps in the air, daringly trying to clear the pie, Boy jumps out of his hiding place from within it and stops him by catching him in his teeth, a full 2 feet above the table. The guests burst into spontaneous applause and speak as one to their hosts. Splendid! Awesome! Fascinating! Incredible! Jolly good show! Rah, rah, rah! Cookie is then helped to carry out a second, huge, this time edible pie by Hester, who is personally thanked by the King and Queen for his brilliant trick. Ladies and gentlemen, please make room for Hester, Cookie and Boy to join us at our feast. The finest cook and the best rat catchers this land has ever seen.